Hello and welcome to the Everyday Carry Thursday. This is the first edition, and we're going to look at my everyday carry knives that I actually have in my real rotation that I use every day. And depending on where I go and what I do and what my needs are, I have different blades for those purposes. And so this is just a realistic look at just one person's loadout, what they would pick. And some people don't really believe that I actually would pick from this amount of knives. They typically may say, well, you probably just stick with one or two and not have this many. And I will say, though, that after years of collecting knives, you get to a point that you find things that work, and it's hard to kind of just stick with just one. Now, when I was much younger, in my teenage years and in that time period of my early 20s, I was pretty much a typical guy that had, one or two knives. Mainly for me was just like I stick with one knife for 2 to 3 years, and then I got tired of it. I would sell it and then get me another good quality knife. Of course, back then, what I thought was quality was maybe such as like a Smith & Wesson pocket knife. I remember I used to have a Smith & Wesson SWAT, the old style in the black with that kind of like a black rubbery insert. And I thought that was the coolest knife, and I had that for many years. And then over time, I started to figure out, okay, that was actually a pretty low-end knife. It wasn't like horrible, but it was fairly low-end compared to especially what's available today and what I have available in my collection. So I just wanted to show that what I actually have in my real rotation, I don't typically put knives in this particular category that are really, really expensive. I think the most expensive one on this in this loadout is going to be a Spyderco Delica 4 with the Emerson Wave. That's going to be by far the most expensive, but typically I try to really stay under $50 if possible for these knives. Now, some of the knives have gone up in value over time, or at least they're more expensive to purchase. I do believe that this Delica 4 and this particular gray configuration with the full flat ground, that was, I'm thinking a few years ago, like maybe $40, $45. Now they're like $65 if you're lucky. And so some of this stuff has just gotten more expensive. So, but realistically, I like to stay between $15 to $50 range. It's a pretty big range, but that works for me. Okay, so let's start. People are sometimes surprised that I actually have some Gerber knives that I actually carry. And I can't tell you that I really carry them a lot, except this paraframe. This one rarely gets carried, this small paraframe or the mini paraframe. This one here is the Ghost Strike. Don't really carry that much, honestly. I just carry it when I want to go somewhere, like to a larger city, and I carry that on my weak side so that I have something to, an auxiliary means to fight someone off if I'm pinned down on my side that I carry my weapon. So that's just an option that I don't hardly ever carry, but it's there. Also, I have this Victorinox and another Victorinox in here. This is the Recruit, and this is the Cadet. I carry the Cadet a lot more. I rarely ever wear belt sheaths and those kind of things, but maybe once a month I put this on. Now, in terms of this knife down here, the Buck Light. This is, I believe that one is the. I think that's the small, maybe. They have like 3 sizes. I think this is the small. Yeah, and I like that quite a bit. Don't really carry it a lot, maybe like once or twice a month. And this one, of course, I've been raving about, and I'll come back to this one in a comparison, in a few moments. But this one is really good for around $20. The K-Bar Dozer does kind of fill my needs. Now, as you can see, the rest of them are Spydercos or sub-brands. This is, of course, the Bird line that Spyderco makes. The Cara 2, by far probably the largest blade that I carry and one of the heaviest, with the exception of here, the Tenacious is a little heavier, but in terms of size, it's a little bit bigger, the Cara 2. These two I do carry, believe it or not, quite a bit, but I use these as my primary utility blades or self-defense blades. I do have a little surprise coming up soon in the next week or so. I'm not sure when I'll review it, though, but a new self-defense blade that I'll be carrying that's a Fody knife, which I'm very excited about. Of course, you have the Meadowlark, and This is the Meadowlark 2, and of course you got the Delica 4, and over here as well, and the Emerson Wave, and this is just the full flat ground. So this is kind of the loadout. Now you may say, well, you missed one, and this is of course the one that I've been carrying. It's now been exactly 1 week. I've been carrying this. This is the Kershaw Shuffle 2, and man, I really like this knife quite a bit. For the value, I will say compared to the one that I thought was the best value on the market, between this and the Cadet, I thought these two were the best. I think that they really, at this point, of course this could change, but this is probably the best value. This is under $20. I like this so much that I actually got several more. This one I got for like $17.52 on Amazon. I had to go back and get another one for the same price. And then I went back a third time and they were on this massive clearance. I don't know what was going on, but I got them for like $14.52. And so I got a third one at that price. And then I wasn't satisfied with that. So I had to go back and get a fourth one for $14.52. So now I have 4 of them. I have only 2 here at the house, and the 2 of them are still being shipped. So very cool knife. You can probably tell. I don't typically ever buy 4 of any knives. I typically at most will buy 2 of something just in case they go out of stock or they discontinue the knife if I just have that love affair with that blade. But I don't think I've ever done this ever in my life. Now, I may have gotten different variations of color, like the K-Bar Dozer. I think I have all their colors. But in terms of the same coloration, because I don't really particularly care for the all black Shuffle 2. I just like this particular one that says it's in the tan, even though I think you and I know it's really more of a lighter shade of coyote brown. Now, in this particular knife I've been carrying, of course, mostly just for testing reason, but I do have to say, I think this is going to be one of my main everyday carry EDC blades from here on out for quite a while. But going back to things that I would improve, now that I've carried it even more since my last review, I think I'd put a little bit of jimping here on this particular choil. I think I'd also increase this thumb ramp just a little bit more in elevation here. And then I would put a little bit of jimping. I'd also put a little bit of jimping up here. So if when you choke up, if you wanted to do different kind of push cuts, you'd have a little bit. It wouldn't have to be very aggressive. And I'd also go ahead and that's the main complaint you hear about these is that they scalped out this handle scale just a little too much, so there's a little bit of flex. It doesn't really kind of cause any real problem or any kind of integrity issues. I just had that a little bit thicker if I was to design this. And then lastly, I'd say this pocket clip. I don't think I'd really care for that hauled out section. I'd make it solid, and I make it this in here just a little bit more, the same width going down instead of the taper. And I would make it an actual true deep carry. This actually, it buries down pretty decent. I have no problems with it, but I think that I would just bring that up and loop it over so it's completely deep carry, so it's actually flush with that top line of the blade. Let's see, what else can I say? Let's see. I think that's pretty much it on this. Okay, just one more thing. I thought I was missing something, so I paused the video just for a second. Okay, so as we know, inside these liners, it's really hard to tell here, but basically there's these metal liners inside, obviously, that reinforce this this back spacer that comes out to this lanyard hole and these different various tools. They're not hollowed out. And of course, I think there's a reason because of the integrity and the strength. They want it to be as sturdy, so if you do use this as a mini pry bar, which you're not really supposed to per se, but you could do as a light-duty pry bar. Of course, I have a video of all the alternative and various things you can do and use this for besides just the screwdriver and the cap lifter. But overall, though, I'd say that if they maybe just had a little bit of hollowing out, maybe not too much toward the end here, but maybe up here, just a couple spots on the side that doesn't have the actual liner for the lock. Just anything to maybe shave off a fraction of an ounce. Because at 3 ounce even and about 4 inch closed, it is a fairly compact and lightweight. But when I wear shorts, lightweight shorts, I can definitely feel this kind of moving around and jumping a little bit compared to maybe like the Delica, which is roughly about a half an ounce lighter. I think this would have been super perfect if it was even possible to bring this down at around the 2.5 ounce mark. I would have given this a complete 5 out of 5. But still right now, I'd say this is right now between a 4 to 4.5 stars. out of 5. This is just where I'm at right now in my initial carrying. So this is just really just is what I carry, and I hope you enjoy this and get some ideas. Of course, everybody has their own preferences. I love the Spidey hose. I like this overall design and look. Even though I traditionally don't really go with the Tanto blades, I do like it in that shuffle too. So this is my everyday carry. Thanks for joining me on the Everyday Carry Thursday, and I'll catch you real soon.